Hey guys, welcome to your Chapter 3 review notes. Hopefully you guys are understanding the material and you're ready to review and take your test tomorrow. But just in case, here we go. It says, think of each segment in the diagram as part of a line. Which lines or line or planes contain point R and appear to fit the description? So something that is parallel to SP that contains point R. So that would be QR. Okay, so parallel, remember, means it's not going to touch. Okay, next one is something that is perpendicular to SP that contains point R. So I'm looking for that right angle, so it's going to touch SP, so that is RS. Something that is skewed to SP that goes through R, that's the only other line that goes through R in this cube, that's RK. And then the last one, planes that are parallel to line or plane KLM. So something that's parallel to KLM that has point R in it. Remember, you can use any three letters from that base, so QRS, RSP, PRS, PRQ, anything. Please make sure that it contains the letter that it's talking about, though. Contains point R. Okay, next one, find the values of X and Y and explain. So hopefully you guys see right off the bat I've got some parallel lines here, which means I'm going to start thinking about my different types of angles: corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, consecutive interior. Maybe I even look at that or linear pairs. Okay, so to me, right here is where I'm going to start. I have 8x equals 96 because they are corresponding. So I'm going to set them equal to each other. 8x equals 96, and then I'm going to solve that. So I take 96, divide by 8, and I get 12. So x is 12. Okay, now I still need to figure out this angle up here. Okay, now some of you are like, okay, I could plug it back in. That gives me vertical angles. Or right here, okay, these two should be equal to each other because they are alternate interior. So these were corresponding. Then I have alternate interior angles. So 11y plus 19 equals 96. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract my 19 and then divide by 11. So y is 7. Okay, down at the bottom, remember this is the same math, just a different concept. So it says, find the value of x that makes m parallel to n. So I need to look at the angles that I have. And I notice that if I look at these angles, those two are not any one of my 4 or 5 types of different angles. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to figure out, how do I get them to be one of those types of angles? So what I would do is probably move this down here. Okay, I'm going to move it because they're corresponding. And then I'm going to look right here. Those two create a linear pair. So my linear pair postulate says those should add up to be a supplementary angle. So they're going to add up to 180 degrees. And I'm going to solve for x that way. Okay, so I have 6x plus 11x and negative 6 plus 33. And then on the other side, I have that 180. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract my 27. So 17x equals 153 and divide by 17. And x equals 9. Okay, so again, please make sure you're following along, you're trying these, you're not just copying down in the video. You can pause it at any time if I'm going too fast, but I do try and give you guys enough time to type things in your calculator. Okay, determine which lines, if any, must be parallel in the diagram and explain your reasoning. So my first diagram, okay, the only angles that I have are right here. Those are corresponding angles. They're both 90 degrees. So that tells me that A is parallel to B. So A is parallel to B. You can also remember that they're both perpendicular to that line D. That's where the right angle touches. So that makes them parallel to each other. Okay, my second diagram, starting right here, I know that P is parallel to Q because of my corresponding angles. And remember, this gets us our converse to prove that lines are parallel. So I should have written that over here as well, converse. Okay, then I have these interior angles that add up to 180. Okay, so interior angles that add up to 180, those are consecutive interior. And then the last thing that I see is both of those are parallel to Q. So P is parallel to R because of the transitive property. Okay, decide whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So remember that this comes all down to slope. And you can either do that by your slope-intercept formula or finding your actual slope if you're given points, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So since we're given equations, let's go ahead and use our slope-intercept formula in order to figure out what they are. So I'm going to solve this first one for y by moving my 3x over. Okay, and then after I move my 3x, I'm going to divide by 4. So remember, what you really care about in these equations or these problems are the slope of each equation. Okay, so my slope for this one is -3/4. Okay, my second one, again, I'm going to solve. So I have 3y equals -4x plus 15. I'm going to divide that by 3, and I get y equals -4 over 3x plus 5. Okay, so my slope for this one is -4/3. Are those parallel, meaning they're the same slope? Are those perpendicular, meaning they're opposite reciprocals? Or are they neither? Okay, so looks like both of them, I have a 3/4 and a 4/3, so I'm thinking maybe opposite reciprocals, but they're both negative. Okay, if they're both negative, this is a definite neither. Okay, they're both negative. So not opposite reciprocals, not the same slope. Okay, here's another one. Write an equation of a line that passes through the given point and is A, parallel, and B, perpendicular to the given line. So this is like two different problems. So I'm going to split my slide in half. On the left side, I'm going to do parallel. On the right side, I'm going to do perpendicular. Okay, so parallel, I get to keep the slope from my original equation. It says I want it parallel to that. So my slope is 2. And then I'm going to use my point slope form in order to plug in the information that I know. Okay, so here's my x1 and y1. So I have y minus 2 equals 2 times x minus -5, which becomes a plus. Then I'm going to simplify, so y minus 2 equals 2x plus 10. Add the 2. And y equals 2x plus 12. Okay, so there's my parallel line. Now I need to write my perpendicular line. So perpendicular means that I'm going to use my opposite reciprocal slope. So my original slope was 2 over 1. So I'm going to flip that and change the sign, -1/2. Okay, and then I'm using that same point. So y minus 2 equals -1/2 times x minus -5, which remember becomes the plus. Okay, now I'm going to distribute my -1/2. And then I'm going to add my 2 over. So y equals -1/2 x. And then remember, if you're not sure about your fractions, just type it in your calculator. And you will get -1/2 or -1/2. Okay, so on the left we have a line that's parallel, on the right we have a line that's perpendicular. Last thing that we have is a proof. So every proof starts with a given. So I'm going to start mine with my given. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it on my diagram. So I know J and K are parallel, and 1 and 2 are congruent. Okay, so if J and K are parallel, I need to figure out what else I can figure out. Okay, so J and K are the lines I'm focused on. And I need one transversal, so either pick A or B to figure out something about other angles. So I'm going to pick A because it looks like 1 and 3 both touch that. Okay, so if you're confused, what I'm doing here is I'm just singling it out. So I have angle 1 and angle 3 right here. What kind of angles are those? Okay, so those are corresponding. So that means I know angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Okay, and then using that knowledge, I notice that angle 1 is in both of those pieces. So I can use my transitive property to say angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. Okay, so I've used my transitive property. Now I'm looking at angles 2 and 3. Okay, what kind of angles are 2 and 3? Right, well, they're corresponding as well, but they're corresponding angles for A and B. So right here, I'm actually ready to say that A is parallel to B because those corresponding angles are congruent. Remember, if you prove parallel, you write converse. Good luck on your test, guys, and I will see you soon. Bye.